ancient Inazuma, who were supremely gifted in singing and writing poetry. Every year, one of the five would present a collection of the group's poems to the shogun for review. Thanks to them, Inazuma's culture blossomed and gained great influence at that time. As time passed, people began creating various tales based on the five kasen. The Irodori festival was also developed as a result to show appreciation for their works, which so greatly enriched our lives.
Sounds like a festival that's really rooted in culture.
Indeed. To describe it in the words of the ancients, it'd be refined elegance, which is precisely why I've decided to revive the Irodori festival by holding a cultural convention featuring light novels.
But wait a minute! Light novels?
Please stop looking at me with those baffled expressions. In ancient times, poetry was all the rage, but the important thing is not the format, but the creative work itself. It is impossible to come up with anything fresh if you're stuck using some rigid format of the past. Speaking of which, don't you think that the concept of focusing on the now perfectly suits the current Inazuma? And besides, it's a great opportunity to reintroduce Inazuma to all Teyvat through light novels.
Whoa, that was close! Paimon was nearly carried away by Miko's persuasion. Come on, Miko! You can't fool us. We know you by now. This is all definitely stemming from your own personal interest.
I can't deny that my hobbies had no part to play in this. However, regardless of whether it's light novels or a festival, catching people's attention with a fresh concept is the essence here. Well, what do you say? Aren't you two even a little curious about what interesting things you might see at the festival?
Maybe a little.
Come, let's pay a visit to the venue in Rito together. There we'll meet a special someone who will tell you more about your tasks. During the Irodori Festival, the area around the Outlander Affairs Agency will become the main exhibition space for light novels. Once things are in full swing, not only will there be lots of official and fan-created work on display, this small plaza in front of the International Trade Association will be called the Five Kasen Plaza during the festival, and nearby shops will be selling special light novel merchandise.
Wow. How should Paimon put this? Miko!
Yes, those are...
Ah, Lady I did mention that there would be some reliable helpers coming to assist with the festivities. It appears she meant you two. At last we meet again, Traveler and Paimon. Tell me, how are you faring recently?
Oh, it's Ayato! Wow, so even a busy guy like yourself is here to attend the Irodori Festival.
Preparing festivals falls under the Yashiro Commission's scope of responsibilities. Seeing as Lady Yae has poured her heart and soul into the preparations, I'm obliged to be equally dedicated.
Come now, Ayato. We're not strangers here. There's no need to sound so formal. We were just about to discuss the boards over here. They're related to our little helper's tasks, so I'll let you give them a detailed rundown.
Certainly. I assume you two already know that the Irodori festival originated from the Five Kasen. This Irodori festival is not only the first major festival to be held in Inazuma since the lifting of the Sakoku decree, it is also an event deeply rooted in culture and the arts. Therefore, the Yashiro Commission has personally invited several cultural celebrities from other nations. For example, the artist we have invited to paint these portraits hails from the distant land of Mondstadt. The Yashiro Commission will arrange accommodations and food in Inazuma for each of the distinguished guests, which is precisely why it would be ideal to have someone familiar with both Inazuma and other nations of Teyvat to serve as a guide for our guests. I knew you would catch on. It is our hope that you would be able to guide the guests from the harbor to their residence at the International Trade Association. This arrival schedule includes the details of the ships on which the guests will be arriving. All you simply have to do is go to the docks at the indicated times.
It's settled then. My, look at the time. During the festival, most of the Yae Publishing House's editors will be staying near the Outlander Affairs Agency.
This festival requires the full cooperation of the Tri-Commission, and there are still many minor details which require my attention, so I must excuse myself for now.
All the details we need about the ships are on the timetable that Ayato gave us. Let's take a closer look and be sure to pick up the passengers according to the times written on it.
I'm sure I've forgotten something. Not to worry, I'll simply send someone to fetch it. As soon as I remember what it was.
According to the arrival schedule, there will be a ship arriving from Mondstadt today. The artist for the 5 Kasen portraits should be on board. The boat should be arriving soon, so let's head down to the docks.
Yes, that's right. We are bards from Mondstadt. Word has it that Inazuma has undergone many changes of late. We hope...
These guests are all bards, aren't they? Well, where's Tone-Deaf Bard then? Huh. Strange. He's pretty famous in Mondstadt. Huh? Why's that? Oh, Paimon sees what you're getting at. Even though venting, if he came rushing to Inazuma at the first mention of a festival, not only would it seem a little childish, it would also sort of be shameless of him too.
Mr. Honorary Knight, Paimon!
It's Klee! Were you also invited to the Irodori Festival?
No, Albedo's the one who received the invitation. But because everyone in the Knights of Favonius has been really busy these days, Albedo arranged for someone here to issue me a dependent pass.
Greetings, Traveler and Paimon. After hearing that Inazuma was making preparations for the Irodori Festival, I predicted that I might run into you here.
Ha! Paimon knew it! Albedo...
You're aware, I'll be using my pen name in Inazuma, Calx. Oh, by the way, do you know where the International Trade Association is?
Yeah, the International Trade Association is where you'll be staying in Inazuma.
Great. Let's get going then.
so beautiful here! So many things I've never seen before.
Slow down, Klee. Please be careful not to bump into others. Telling Klee so many stories about Inazuma during the trip was probably not the best idea. As a result, she could hardly sleep all the way here. It appears she's even more excited now that we've arrived. Strange. It seems that the editorial director, Mr. Hirayama, isn't here yet. Well, Mr. Hirayama was supposed to meet with me and give me some reference materials about the 5 Kasen today.
You mean you had no idea what you'd be painting before you arrived in Inazuma?
I only know of the 5 Kasen by name. Because of the sheer age of the tale, very little has been passed down to this day. So Mr. Hirayama decided to help me collect some more information. I'm the type of painter who can complete a painting quickly as long as I'm inspired. So I agreed on only receiving the details today.
So when do the paintings have to be done by?
According to the festival plans, the portraits will be revealed one at a time throughout the various stages of the Irodori festival.
The day after tomorrow? Then you're already running out of time!
There's no need to panic. When I was working on light novel illustrations, because the manuscripts are shipped by boat, things were always tight and finished at the last minute. Just last month, to ensure the latest book of A Legend of Sword would be finished for the Irodori festival, I had to complete the final chapter's illustrations the same day I received the manuscript. I heard that my illustrations were sent to print as soon as they arrived in Inazuma. I still don't know how well they turned out.
Paimon isn't sure if she should feel sympathetic for your working conditions or compliment you on your artistic genius.
Of course, I would still prefer to receive any possible reference materials in advance, so that...
Oh, right! The editors of the Yai Publishing House will all be around the Outlander Affairs Agency these next few days. Who knows? Maybe Mr. Hirayama's over there too.
Alright, it's worth a try. Klee, you haven't slept for a while now. Please stay at our residence in the International Trade Association and get some rest. We will be back soon.
Okie dokie. Don't worry, Albedo. I'll be on my best behavior. Who's traveling with me? Festival's always
This can't be happening. The moment we need to Kuroda and I will go back to Inazuma City for an emergency printing run.
Despite everything, we're still lucky that we found out today. Hey, do you think that suspicious guy they found in the warehouse has anything to do with this?
Well, the editorial director is on his way over there to investigate the situation as we speak.
Sorry to interrupt, but what's going on here?
Oh, hey, Traveler. Don't worry. It's nothing, just an internal issue. That's all.
I'm looking for the editorial director, Mr. Hirayama. Does anyone know where he is now?
Mr. Hirayama is currently at the warehouse down by the harbor.
Oh, hold on. Excuse me, but you must be Calx, the one who...
Yes.
My name is Kuroda. You must... I do apologize, but please, make yourself comfortable at the International Trade...
Oh, no need. You guys look...
Excuse me, but... Is there something...
Huh?
Since you were all aware that Mr. Hirayama needed to send me some supporting materials, that means the editorial director didn't forget about it. To add to that, despite being aware that I am Calx, you were still unwilling to let me go to Mr. Hirayama directly. After considering these factors, the only reason you would try to stall me is if something happened to A Legend of Sword.
Well, earlier today, someone spotted a suspicious outlander sneaking around in... The Tenryo Commission was concerned about potential cargo theft, so they contacted everyone who was renting space in the warehouse.
What? The books are missing?
Shh, not so loud. Not only is this book an eagerly anticipated release in the last phase of the Irodori Festival...
Because of the dire situation, Mr. Hirayama immediately hurried to the warehouse.
I see. It would be a great misfortune if A Legend of Sword would not be released on schedule. If Mr. Hirayama has gone to the warehouse at the docks, then I'll go down to see if I can be of any help.
Liyue? Sounds like a name from Liyue.
I have not met him personally, but the editor said that he is actually the second son of the Feiyun Commerce Guild family in Liyue. Oh, do you know him?
Whoa, that's a real twist! But enough about that. Let's accompany Albedo to the warehouse, too. It's you! Why are you here?
I'm here on behalf of the Tenryou Commission, of course. Is that surprising?
No, Sarah, Paimon wasn't talking about you! So, tone-deaf bard. The suspicious outlander in the warehouse wouldn't happen to be you, would it?
Considering the evidence, it appears that the suspicious outlander is indeed me.
As I have told you, you are a suspect. Before your allegations of theft and illegal entry as a stowaway are cleared, you are to remain silent. Don't make me say it again. Traveler, Paimon, do you know this self-proclaimed bard from Mondstadt?
Listen, Sarah. Knowing him, it's safe to say that he wasn't behind the theft. But what's this about being a stowaway?
Although he claims to be a special guest for the Irodori festival, he's failed to present his invitation letter. And just a moment ago, we caught him in a dandelion wine crate near the Sailing Breeze. If it would help shed any light on the...
Oh, Venti!
Ouch! Your words wound me! We've been apart for so long, and the moment we meet again, all I'm greeted with is grilling questions and suspicious glares. You arrived in Inazuma via similar means, or so I heard. You of all people should be more understanding, don't you think?
Similar means?
I merely jest. Fear not, for the person who sent me the invitation is none other than Kamisato Ayato of Yashiro Commission.
But why weren't you on the same ship as the other bards?
Well, once I received the invitation letter, I couldn't help but want to come to Inazuma a little early. It was then that I happened upon a cargo ship bound for... Once aboard, I found the captain to be a kindred spirit, and I was treated to an abundance of fine liquor along the way. And when I woke up, I found myself in this warehouse with a Tenryou Commission general glaring at me from atop the grate.
Coming from Venti, this story is quite believable. But it still feels a bit...
Excuse me, I'm the owner of the stolen goods from the IA publishing house. Based on what you just said, it seems you've been in the warehouse for some time now. If that's the case, did you happen to hear anything unusual?
Actually, I did hear some faint footsteps around me a couple of times.
But if you clearly heard something, why didn't you feel it was unusual?
Oh, I seem to understand now.
Huh? What did you notice, Albie?
When it comes to burglars, they are generally associated with prying or rummaging through things. What Venti means is that he did not hear anything unusual like that. As for the sound of footsteps, because this is a warehouse where many goods are coming in and out each day, it is quite normal for people to be walking around.
I see. But if that's the case, then we're back to square one regarding...
No, not quite. From the facts that have been presented to us, we can... First, whoever took the novels is not a spur-of-the-moment burglar. They had their sights in the books from the very beginning. Second, I knew you'd catch on, Traveler. One person couldn't possibly transport so many heavy books in such a short window of time. It goes without saying that Venti clearly does not match up with our culprits.
Yes, I agree with your reasoning. Mr. Hirayama, the Tenryou Commission will continue by investigating the warehouse staff.
Yes, understood. I'll leave it to you then.
I suppose I'm free as a bird then.
Not so fast. Even though we've cleared the theft allegations, we still haven't ascertained whether your arrival in Inazuma was legal or not.
Might let me off the hook.
quite the meticulous one. So, where's your invitation letter, Venti?
Yes, the invitation letter.
How could you lose something so important?
Don't be mistaken. I was well aware of how important it was. But I didn't bring any luggage with me, and the letter was too big to fit in my pocket. Strange. Though I had a little too much to drink, I know that I kept it in a secure place.
If you were holding the invitation in your hand the whole time, then why did you put it down?
Well, to properly compare the taste of Mondstadt wine and Inazuman sake, I couldn't both hold the invitation and a glass at the same time.
In which case, I believe there's only one place it could be.
Huh? You're way ahead of Paimon. Huh? That doesn't sound right. The invitation...
Drinking too much may occasionally... Ah, yes!
This is indeed an invitation letter. However, starting tonight, I would advise you to stay at the International Trade Association. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be leaving now.
There goes Zara. All right, let's go talk to
Mr. Hiroyama, I'm Calx. We had originally arranged to meet today.
Ah, yes, so you are Calx. I'm very sorry that you've arrived in Inazuma. These are the materials regarding the
Let's see here. Yes, it's just as I had suspected. Though there were once many stories regarding each of the 5 Kasen, the validity of their contents can no longer be verified in present times. But, at the very least, we know that most of the stories were written according to a similar style.
So, is the info useful for your paintings, Albedo?
To some extent, yes. However, I must admit that it is still lacking and, fails to fulfill the most crucial element. Inspiration.
I am sorry that this information is not as exhaustive as you had hoped. Though, Lady Yae did say that there are many variations of the story about the 5 Kasen. So all you need to do is follow through with what's in your own heart, and create something that you yourself find interesting.
That does sound like something Miko would say.
Thank you, Mr. Hiroyama. No need to worry.
Great. I'll leave it to you then, Calx. Oh, tomorrow morning Mr. Genyu, the author of A Legend of Sword, will be arriving in Whether the stolen books are eventually recovered or not, the Yae Publishing House will do its best to ensure that the novel... You have my gratitude.
Well, seems there's nothing more we can do here. Let's go. Huh? Venti? What are you doing?
Traveler, Albedo, would you mind coming over here?
What is it, Venti? A piece of paper?
Indeed. When I awakened to find myself in the warehouse this morning, I didn't think much of it then. I thought it was merely a scrap piece of paper that had fallen into the cargo. But on second thought, I think it's worth having you take a look at what's written on it.
Let me see. Suiko chapter.
The story told in this poem roughly boils down to Suiko getting tipsy and letting some poems that were meant for the shogun get stolen. This story sounds familiar to my ear.
Seriously? It's literally the same story you just experienced yesterday!
Oh, indeed it is.
Yes, I concur. The person who left this paper could quite possibly be the criminal. But why leave the paper here in such a fashion?
Alright, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Meeting together in Inazuma like this is a most rare occasion.
Hey! You just sobered up and you're already thinking about more drinks? And let's not forget that Albedo still has a portrait to complete.
No, it's fine. Let's all go for a drink together. It'll be my treat.
Wait a minute! What about your portrait?
As I mentioned before, I'm the kind of artist who can work quickly once I'm inspired. If I use a model as reference for the piece, we must pay him back with the appropriate recompense.
In that case... One year, the poet Suiko made his way to Tenshukaku and presented the Kasen's work for the shogun's perusal. But a page from the works of Aoi no Okina had been torn out, and Suiko was questioned regarding the matter. Suiko pleaded guilty. He admitted to drinking at the tavern the night before, and vaguely recalled a mysterious figure approaching while he was intoxicated.
Who is this Jinyu everyone keeps...
Wow, you really came through, Albedo. You were able to complete the first portrait before the opening ceremony.
Yes, it really is a sight to behold. Not only does it harken to the traditional style of Inazuma, but...
Hey, don't get too full of yourself, tone-deaf bard. Well, Albedo, who will be your next portrait?
The next one will be Aoi no Okina of the 5 Kasen.
Albedo, might I suggest waiting a little before starting on the next one?
Another story?
I believe he's referring to the possibility of finding another paper with tales of the 5 Kasen.
Do you think the mysterious person who left the first paper will strike again?
It certainly is a possibility. Also, there are some... For example, the reference materials make mention... It appears that throughout all the stories, there is never a chapter dedicated to Kuronushi.
Yes, I'm also curious about these stories myself. So for now, we need but just wait patiently.
Enjoy the blessing of Lesser Lord Kusanagi. A nation blessing now.
Everything's in place and they've taken the bait. Yes. Now to start reeling them in